We're heading into week 11. It's time to make our waiver wire run. Some of you guys are gearing up for the playoffs, and some of you guys are scraping to make lineups so you can figure out how to get into the playoff picture. But today I'm going to give you 15 players to pick up this week to help your fantasy teams. Some suggestions to help you out. And we're going to jump in this real quick here. The first player we're going to talk about today is Donovan PeoplesJones. He has 15 catches off 19 targets in his last 3 games, a 24.4% target share, and he's averaging almost 90 air yards per game. Week 9, he had a 93% snap share. Week 10, he had a 96% snap share. We all know Deshaun Watson's coming back, which should give him better targets going forward, probably more volume as well. He is a big pickup right now if he's still on the waiver wire. A guy that I talked about last week that you probably should have been looking into picking up, who's been flying under the radar, mainly due to an injury on his team, and some of the volume he's been receiving, is Mack Hollins from the Raiders. 148 air yards last week, 15.8% target share off 6 targets. Remember, Hunter Renfro's out for the season. They're going to have to be moving the ball some way. They can't just give it all to Devontae Adams, even though they probably wish they could. Mack Hollins is going to have some up and down weeks, and you may be able to use that as a trendy stash for your lineups. Next running back hit last week, and he's a rookie I've been talking about. He has been one of my top stashes all year long. Matter of fact, I even drafted him in a lot of leagues, and I think the time is now. If he's still in waivers, which really he shouldn't be, if you've been following this channel, you picked him up for a bit, and you've been holding him, and I'm talking about Rashad White. 100 plus yards last week on 22 touches. What I like about him most is he's a receiving back on a team that needs the production to really turn things around. He was one of the top receiving backs in last year's draft. Earned over 20% share of the passing targets at Arizona State. I like running backs who are bigger, who has some explosiveness, and can catch the ball out of the backfield. That's what you got in Rashad White, and now we're seeing opportunity. If he's on waivers, you have to do whatever you can to get him. This next running back that I'm going to talk about is another rookie who is seeing an increase in snap share, increase in volume. It's slowly tricking up by the week. So maybe by the end of the season, we might see a little bit more out of him. And I'm talking about Jalen Warren. Played 43% of the snaps on Sunday, most all season long. And he's going to push Najee Harris. It is probably going to be an even split going forward. And we may see him earn more touches throughout the year. And he should be rostered in a lot of leagues right now. But if you're watching this right now and you need a running back, this is a guy you could speculate on. We're moving on to another rookie running back. And I've been telling you this all season long. The rookie running backs tend to pop off at the end of the season when we're getting towards the fantasy playoffs. That's why you want to start stashing them a little bit early. That way you don't have to fight for them off the waiver wire. That's why we're a little bit earlier than expected. But things are starting to look good, especially on this guy. A lot of people were paying up for him in the drafts this year for fantasy. I'm talking about Isaiah Pacheco. Season high, 16 touches, 56% of the snaps, 82 yards against Jacksonville, and he's got an easy schedule going forward. The potential for him to up the ante on these fantasy points are looking good. He's got the Texans in his last game. He's the guy that you need to pick up. Really should be rostered in a lot of leagues, but a lot of people come to this channel for advice to see who to pick up. So if he's still there, go ahead and get him. And while you're looking at running backs, you may want to think about the wide receivers too. Matter of fact, I talked about him yesterday on a video, and it's Christian Watson. Had his blow-up game last week, and what I talk about with the rookie wide receivers, they tend to be the few wide receivers out of the year who get better as the season progresses. And Christian Watson could be there. Plus, he was dealing with injuries earlier this season, but had 8 targets, 4 catches, and 107 yards, 3 touchdowns. Huge performance. Big-time wide receiver 1 for last week. 164 air yards, and we could see this continuing. Look at his athletic profile. We're looking at a 6'4" wide receiver who runs a 4.36, 98th percentile speed score. That is what you want. This is a wide receiver that looks like he's going to trend to get a lot of air yards, which he should when you have that type of speed. A running back who's coming back that we need to be interested in. He might be rostered. He might be on waivers. That's why I'm throwing a lot of players at you, is Gus Edwards, coming back from injury, but played one full game this year, and it was glorious. 16 touches on a 36% snap share, equated to 18.6 PPR fantasy points. If you're hurting at running back, if he's there, this could be a grab for you to help you out. I got another running back here that you may want to think about. He's not a guy you need to rush to waivers, but this might be more for a deeper league or as an insurance policy to invest in, which means there's a probability this could go to zero, but could hit big for you as well. And I'm talking about Samaje Perine from the Cincinnati Bengals. He's played 91% of the backup running back snaps behind Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon is getting 21 touches per game, third most among all running backs. If Mixon gets hurt, some of that could go to Perine, and you're going to want those touches. Going back to the wide receiver position, there is another player that I'm highly interested in. I was interested in him during the offseason. He was making plays, and honestly, I've been interested in him as a cheap stash for Dynasty and Devy for a long time, and I'm talking about Nico Collins. Had a 27% share of the passing targets last week. We all know Brandon Cooks is quiet quitting, and it's equating to more volume to Collins and production. Caught 5 balls, 49 yards, and 1 touchdown. This is a wide receiver you need to think about getting off the waiver wire, because this could lead to production. A running back that is getting sneaky production right now that you can probably get off waivers. I know a lot of people have been stashing him. I've been talking to a lot of patrons in the comments about this player, helping him out so they can get him on their roster before he came back, is Elijah Mitchell. Played 35.2% of the snaps last week. The coaching staff has stated they want an even split between him and Christian McCaffrey. This means there's going to be volatility, but you should expect that from all the waiver wire running backs, because if they weren't volatile, they wouldn't be on waivers. Think about those lines. But he has 4.3 speed. He's explosive. He can be productive. He's proved that this season, and he proved that last year. So even with a little bit of workload, and even a little bit of workload is a lot compared to most running backs in fantasy. So Elijah Mitchell is going to give you some up games. Talking about another player who's been having some up games as of late, and it's a tight end. And we are always interested in tight ends because they are hard to find, is Cole Kmet. In his last 2 games, he was targeted 13 times with a 28.9% target share, catching 9 balls. This equated to 22.7 points per game in his last 2 games. He is on the upswing. I would expect volatility just naturally from the tight end position, but a guy getting targets here, quarterback looking good. Justin Fields has been hot right now. Cole Kmet has been receiving some of that production, and another player to look at. A wide receiver we want to think about off waivers who's had a change in the situation. New coaching staff, quarterbacks came back, targets coming his way, is Paris Campbell. He scored 20.6 points last week, a 33.3% target share, 7 catches off 9 targets. This is a little bit of a speculation because it's on a sample of 1 game. We have some changes here with the coaching staff. Matt Ryan's back. Maybe he's going to get some of those deep targets, some chances to get yards after the catch. This is a 4-3 guy. He's got a lot of burst, and if he's getting targets and if he's getting put in a position to produce, then he's a guy you want to have some chips on. Another wide receiver who had a change in the situation slightly this week, and it should be for the short term, but you may want to think about him. He's probably not on waivers, but a lot of people came to me in the comment section in my channel asking me if they can drop him. So imagine there are people dropping him in some leagues, is Cortland Sutton. And anecdotally, I'm just throwing him out there because he might be there because people are asking to drop him. And I just want to see if you can snag him on the cheap. 28.2% target share last week off 11 targets, 120 air yards. Jerry Jeudy has a nagging injury right now. I don't know how long that's going to impact him, but it's not serious. But the workload should increase. The workload should be there if Judy's out. And Sutton is an air yards guy. He's proven that in the past. So things could be turning around. If he's on waiver wire anyways, there could be some plus matchups with him being in the AFC West that could really help him going forward. But if you really like an air yards wide receiver, a guy getting deep targets that can be productive, look at Darius Slayton at the New York Giants. This guy in his last 2 games led the team with 10 targets, a 20.8% target share of 108 air yards, and has a 32% share of the team's passing air yards. Dude has 4.3 speed, gets downfield, and when they need to push the football, it's going his way, and that could lead to some boom weeks, and he's cheap right now. He might be on waivers for you. I know a lot of people have been picking him up over the last few weeks. If you need a wide receiver who hasn't been hot off the waiver wire lately, who I'm pretty sure is there for you, look at Jarvis Landry. Small sample, week 10, but a 79% share of the snaps, 6 targets, and 3 catches. Remember, Michael Thomas is on IR. They're going to move him to the slot. He's going to get the volume there, which could lead to some fantasy production. So that's a player to look at if you're hurting at the wide receiver position right now. But those are 15 players that you can pick up off waivers right now that could help your fantasy football team. I sprayed and prayed on a lot of different players just so I can have something to help you out, because everyone's in different positions right now as we hit the end of the season. Some of you guys need running backs. Some of you guys need good running backs. Some of you guys just need running backs that are just getting touches. Some of you guys just need wide receivers that are getting some sort of opportunity. Some of you guys are in deep leagues. Some of you guys are in shallow leagues. So hopefully me just going everywhere here helps somebody out to find somebody off the waiver wire. Let me know in the comments below who you're picking up this week. Smash that subscribe button, especially if you made it this far in the video. You might as well subscribe. I'm only here to help you out going forward. Waiver wire videos, stash videos, trade videos. I got the content here. Again, I want to thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.